Hey, welcome back to Whitetail Garage. This week's episode, I'm going to go ahead and get the MSD mounted. I've got to get all the electrical done, but starting with getting everything kind of mounted in the places it needs to be, and then I can start running electrical. At least that's just the way that I like to do it. There you go. I need to get the MSD mounted. That's the biggest issue. The last video, I don't know if y'all watched it. If you had a chance, I'll link it up top. But I was struggling with where to mount it. I wanted to try and get it up higher in the fender. I think I'm going to go ahead and put it back the way it was. I may try and bend the bracket up a little bit more so it's kind of more in the fender, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. So one of the things I was thinking about was mounting it to the horn bracket and having the horn bolt go through the horn and the bracket I create, and have it kind of, go in right there and hit the side of the frame rail right up there. And that'd give me a big plate to mount to, and it'd be up nice and high and out of the way. My problem with it is I can't really get a drill in. I don't want to take the fender off because of the side skirts. They're taped on. Even though I'm going to repair that, I'll do that later. So I don't really want to deal with that. So I can't really drill up there. And just this is what I was talking about last week, where I was just kind of struggling to get inspired. And so what I'm going to do this time, here's my old bracket. So my old bracket bolted right up to the bottom of this thing here, just like kind of at that angle. I'm going to basically get it all bolted and ready, and then see if I can bend it up a little bit more straight, kind of tuck it up into this corner. But otherwise, I'm just going to run with that for now. If I'm able to eventually get, it higher up, if I decide to go that route, that I'll have more than enough wire, because I will have cut it for the longer distance to run from here to up there rather than from here to there. So I'll have more wire than I actually need. So it just kind of works out. So I'm going to go ahead and mount it up there for now, or mount it down here for now. And just go from there so I can move on. They only give you 4 of these. I don't know if these are supposed to go on the, the bolt through the MSD, or on the nut side of the back side of this. Never actually used the isolators. I always just straight mounted that thing. I say that like I've got a ton of experience. I think I've installed 2 MSD ignitions, but including the one that was on this car. But both times I think I just hard mounted them. But I thought I'd do the isolators this time. I know that's super close to the edge, but I mean, hell, that's where it was before, and it lasted forever. So I'm gonna stick with it. This MSD, I feel like doesn't weigh as much as the other MSD. That might not be accurate, but I mean, this thing doesn't have hardly any weight to it at all. That's really high. Okay, so there it is mounted in there. That's probably the best place to put it, and actually probably the best angle, because if I've got to make an adjustment to any of these, it's a matter of getting a screwdriver in here. If I go too much of an angle up, it'll be even that much more of a pain to try and adjust these. I don't think these will obviously get adjusted much, but you know, having to peel those out and adjust them being in the fender, that'll be hard enough. So ended up really honestly exactly right back where it was. So I'll just cut that out, and then I can put this in, and this will be a main bulkhead for a bunch of wiring to hit, including the battery on the back side of the fender. And then this will be 12 volts inside the fender if I need it. Like I'm considering maybe running the alternator over to it. You know, usually you'd run it down and around the frame rail, but having the exhaust there, that's not ideal. So I'll either have to go from the alternator straight down to this harness, which is going to go under the frame rail anyway, or I can go straight across with the coil wire and over. Just some options, but either way, like setting timing, you know, testing, anything like that, having a 12 volt lug right there in the corner, it's nice to have, since you don't have a battery sitting here anymore to jump off of. Putting this in the engine compartment is quite nice. All right, I used the air saw and then ground the corners where I needed to in order to get that flat side. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop there for today. We'll pick it up tomorrow, and then we'll actually be able to do all the electrical. I got the MSD mounted. I got the power pass-through mounted, which again is mostly just a lug for me to put a bunch of power to and use that as a power source. That'll keep a bunch of weight off of the starter solenoid. That's a big issue that people run into, where that starter solenoid lug will actually break off on the inside, and then you have a weird starter issue, and it's because of the solenoid, and it's actually broken or has a bad connection just inside the starter solenoid. You can't really tell because you've got a bunch of stuff bolted to the power side whenever you put the battery in the back. So I like to put that extra lug off to the side, battery straight to the solenoid, and the lug holds all the weight of everything else that you need to give power to. But we'll fiddle with that tomorrow. Got to get to the brisket that I've been smoking all day long. Started out the day, you know, flying kites with the kids, and had a brisket going all day, and now it's time to relax. Got this far, I'm gonna crack a beer, finish smoking that brisket, and then we'll jump back on this and actually start doing the wiring tomorrow. All right, it's next day. I'm gonna start doing the MSD install. But first, I want to get, since I'm going to be in that inner fender, I want to get everything that I think is going to be connected in there, and one of which is the headlight harness, and this is just not in great shape. So I'm going to first just repair this harness, get it cleaned back up, and then kind of lay it in where it needs to go, so that way the pieces that do connect for 12 volt power and connect to that other harness, they're accounted for. All right, so these are the wires coming from the MSD. So we have the small red, the white, the blue, and the gray. So the white goes to your green and yellow. Your red goes to the red. I don't remember what the color tracer is on there. Red and green. Goes to your red and green. And these two wires originally went to your coil. So I pulled them down into my inner fender. They connect to those. Then the blue wire is the two-step, so that wire is running to the interior of the vehicle, and then this is the tack signal, so that's running to the tack signal inside the cab. So then the only other ones are power and ground, so I have to shorten this and get it to the right length. I've got just too much going on these two poles. You know, this pole and this pole have too much power going to them. And so I've bought a distribution block that just seems like way too big, but let me see if I can fit it in here. I was actually going to send it back, but I feel like I'm going to need it given the amount of power, because I still have this power, still have the MSD power, still have the fan power, and still have alternator that I have to pull over and connect over here. So yeah, I think I'll end up using a distribution block. That's the ground for the MSD. That'll get grounded to the same bolt that is mounting it. And so yeah, you can see like how tucked away this is. All of that will also get tucked away. What I'm waiting on to do that though is to go ahead and get the radiator wired, because that harness, I'm guessing is going to route here and kind of back through and then tie in. Even if I go around this way and go all the way around, which I probably won't do, I'll still want to tie it into that same harness and inside this fender. So still have to rewire the mass air sensor because I've got the PMAS, that's the 5-wire. I think it's 5-wire, 5 or 8-wire, I don't remember, but it's not the 4-wire here. So I got to do that wiring as well. Here's the distribution block I ordered from Amazon. It's just way bigger than I thought it was. They're 5/16 bolts, and I just had it in my head that that would be smaller. I mean, I guess those are 5/16 bolts, but I just had it in my head that they would be smaller, and so that's a big amount of, that's a big bulk to put in there. And I don't really need all of that, but I need more than what I've got. So yeah, so got a little bit further on the wiring. I think I'll end this episode here. Chunked away a little bit more at the electrical. I've got just a little bit more to do, but I feel like now I'm at a point where I could probably plug in the battery and start to chase down any kind of issues that come from that. So we'll probably do that in the next video. Hey, if you like this video, be sure to hit a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, and if you haven't subscribed, definitely click the subscribe button. That way you can stay tuned for new content to come. It won't be long before this car's running, and then we'll be at the track and driving around on the street and jumping on the next project. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.